overall, though, how was Superliminal as a video game on my second playthrough? And was it as good as I remembered it being? And do I think it's a good game? So what are my final thoughts on Superliminal, having now played it twice? It's a good game. I think Superliminal is a good game. I really like it. I like a lot of what it does, and I think it's very fun, and you can definitely tell where it takes inspiration from. Superliminal, absolutely, I would have to say, is majority inspired probably by Portal, Stanley Parable, and Myst. I would say those are probably the three biggest inspirations for Superliminal, if I had to hazard a guess. And definitely at the very beginning, it seems to lean more into the optical illusion, sort of Portal-esque stuff going on. And then as you continue on, it leans more into Stanley Parable. Now, I haven't played Myst, so I don't know the exact aspects, but I've seen screenshots and I've heard about it, so I'm thinking that's an inspiration in there as well. But it definitely starts to lean more and more and more and more into the Stanley Parable aspect as it goes on. And while if it wasn't a game about dreams, while I would say I think it kind of loses the plot partway through the game, I think that's the point. Because it's a game all about dreams, and dreams are constantly changing, and unexpected stuff is going to happen, and it just kind of goes boom, 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 and stuff just keeps going and going and going and going and going because it's a dream, of course. That's kind of how they work. And so, if I was playing any other game that wasn't a dream, if it wasn't a game about being a dream, I would be critical of the game, and I would say it lost the plot. It completely just kind of lost its way. It started as one thing, then it kind of became another thing, and then it kind of became another thing kind of thing, and it didn't really stay consistent. And like, hey, if that's done in a creative way, that's one thing, but if it wasn't a game about being in a dream, I'd be possibly somewhat critical of that if I didn't feel like it was done in a purposeful, intentional way. But this is a game all about being in a dream. And so as such, I do think it was done in a purposeful, intentional way that I do think leads the game to being more interesting than it would otherwise be, kind of thing. I think it's a bit jarring. The first time I played it, I was like, wow, that was really interesting. And the second time I played it, there's not as much replayability as I thought there was going to be. Really enjoyable, really fun to play the second time around. I thought coming into it that I was going to notice a lot of stuff that I didn't notice previously, and that's not really what happened. Like, for me with Portal, it's one of those games that, yes, it's a puzzle game, and if you're only looking for the solutions to the puzzle, then you might get everything first time around, kind of thing. But with Portal, I think there's a little bit more to it than that. There's some jokes, there's other stuff kind of thing that you might not get first time around that you might get second time around. Same with Portal 2, etc. With Superliminal, on the other hand, while I do think it is very replayable, and while I do think I got more from the second playthrough than I had just gotten on the first playthrough, it wasn't quite as replayable as I thought it was going to be. But nonetheless, a very enjoyable game that I really enjoyed, and overall, a very solid game. A very solid game in my personal opinion. Now, does it stack up to the Stanley Parable or Portal 2? Not quite. Not quite. But it's still a very good game nonetheless. And I really like it. And I think it's a very solid game that if you guys enjoy surrealist art or surrealist video games, I definitely do think Superliminal is an experience that you may very well want to have. It's a worthwhile game in my personal opinion, especially since it goes on sale every once in a while. And overall, it's a very solid game that I enjoyed playing through the first time and I've enjoyed playing through again. Overall, in my opinion, Superliminal, good game. I enjoyed playing it. Would I play it again? Probably not for this moment in time. I'd give myself another couple years. And do I like the mechanics of it, the story of it, and kind of how it changes over time with it being in a dream? I like the mechanics. Some more so than others, but I like the mechanics overall. I think the story is interesting. It's definitely a shit ton of gaslighting for sure. But it's a story that isn't a story, but it is a story at the same time. I think the story within Superliminal is less about you as an individual and is more about the narrator, the doctor who's talking through you or through the radios to you, and he's trying to figure out what's going on, and then he eventually just starts bullshitting, kind of thing. And I think it's one of those aspects where the narrator at the beginning, the doctor, starts off as being this guy who's like, okay, what is going on? And then it eventually just moves into him gaslighting and being like, okay, I just need to get this dude out of the dream and hope he doesn't sue me. So I'm just going to like gaslight the dude massively. And so it's one of those things, you can't trust the narrator. I am of the full opinion that the narrator within Superliminal is not to be trusted. At the beginning, I think maybe the dude was just trying to do his job. But then at the end, I think the dude's just straight up lying and trying to gaslight you and stuff like that. Just trying to do damage control, frankly put. So I really like that aspect of the story. I'm a really big fan of that, I'll admit. But yeah, no, overall, Superliminal. Enjoyable game to play. Good game. I enjoyed replaying it. Definitely the second time around, I'm feeling a bit more critical of it than I was the first time, kind of thing. But overall, still a very enjoyable game that I think is really good and is well worthwhile playing if you are a fan of anything surrealism. It's a very surreal game with a lot going on. Some of it at times can come across, in my opinion, as being a bit, hey, this is surrealism kind of thing. I don't know what the right way of putting that is. It's not like it's too much. I don't know what the right way of putting it is. But yeah, either way, basically what I'm trying to say is that I think it's a good game for those who enjoy surrealism. And I enjoyed Superliminal. Let me just put it that way. I enjoyed Superliminal on my first playthrough and on my second playthrough today. I really enjoyed myself. And overall, I'm very glad to have played Superliminal again today. What do you guys think of Superliminal? Did you guys enjoy it? Did you guys not? Did you guys like the surrealist aspects? What do you guys think about the narrator? And what do you guys think about the dream formatting where it kind of changes so much over time? It's really not the game at the beginning as it is at the end kind of thing. It's got a very interesting progression when it comes to games and something that you wouldn't really see outside of a game like Superliminal, in my personal opinion. Overall, very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. And a game I'm very glad to have played through again. And an interesting concept, for sure. Definitely an interesting concept, I will admit. As you said, Mr. Panex Jr. I think that's the good way of putting it. Superliminal is a very interesting concept for a video game. And one that, in my opinion, was pretty well executed. That's a good way of putting it. I think I'm going to leave it at that.